Sagittarius, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for March 21st to the 27th of 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link down below because the signs are different. All right, so Sagittarius, this week, that lunar eclipse on Wednesday, big part of the year here in March with these eclipses. So the lunar eclipse is associated with the North Node. Well, this one is, and so it's a culminating point now of anything that you have been involved with over the past 6 months involving either your career, your legacy, or your public life in some sense, or your productive life. That's the 10th house. So that has been a big area of change for you over the past 2 years with the North Node transiting there, but the North Node has recently shifted into your 9th house. So you're finishing it up. You're kind of cultivating what you have been already working on. So you're at the halfway point with a lot of this stuff that you may have been involved with these past 6 months here. And if not anything specifically, you just have this awareness about the legacy or about the big picture or the productive life, which can be very useful to you this week. So this is, again, helping you become aware of not only that, but that this new life path is shifting for you to expand your horizons. The North Node in the 9th house is all about you connecting to the expansive view of life. That might be through philosophy or adventure or travel, which has been an area that you can continue to learn more about and cultivate. Now with this lunar eclipse, it is going to be sextiling up to Mars, so it could be quite motivating for you, perhaps more on the internal level though. Mars in the 12th house is that lately perhaps you guys have been more intent on getting your alone time or getting that time out, your spiritual time. And that's been important because Saturn is helping you ground that. But in either case, with that spiritual connotation of you taking action here to maybe get some of that present moment awareness and whatnot, is directly supporting this career stuff. So I highly recommend it. Highly recommend any type of spiritual activities and anything that you might feel like momentum, and you're building momentum and taking action towards involving that legacy or productive stuff. Now the lunar eclipse is going to be opposing up to Mercury because exact on Wednesday, Mercury will be conjoining up to the Sun. So this is the combust energy where there's a lot of that passion of the sun, that strong identification, strong expressive ideas and whatnot. And it's specifically in the area of your roots. So I think you've already been focused on lately, perhaps more of the importance of your personal life, maybe home, family, or your health. And that's going to be something that you want to balance with, because with this opposition, there is this illumination and this cultivation of your productive life, but at the same time, with all these full moons and lunar eclipses, it's always about balance. So while that's expanding or while you're gaining awareness about that, remembering that there is this importance of your roots, of your home, of your family, and establishing things, and maybe even changing things there so they are more healthy in that sense, right? But balance of both. Now, also on Wednesday, aside from this lunar eclipse, Jupiter is going to be squaring up to Saturn. So your ruler, Jupiter, getting this dose of Saturn is kind of already been going on. So if you guys have been feeling a bit more on the limitation or having to be patient about things or take the slow and steady road, that's going to come to its high point on Wednesday. And so it's good to approach life in that fashion, because although things are expanding for you, Saturn's forming this T-square to these nodes. And so it's all about taking the disciplined road, taking a healthy amount of responsibility specifically to connect to your spiritual life, your true spiritual self, your alone time or whatever it might be for you. And that's something that Saturn's been showing you the importance of establishing in your life so that you can have that presence there. So good to approach things with that, mature, grounded approach, specifically with what's unfolding for you in that more expansive area of life, the 9th house. Now on Thursday, Mercury is going to be trining up to Mars. So we could all be feeling perhaps a bit, again, assertive with our ideas and expressing ourselves there. This is, again, specifically involving the home, family, or your health, which is where you're focused. But I think there can be maybe some energy, some motivation, maybe from getting some of that alone time or that spiritual time out, which can perhaps come easy this week, at least on some level. Now on Friday, Saturn goes retrograde, and so this is going to be for the next 5 months. This happens once a year. So it's good to start redoing these structures with your spirituality. Where have you been establishing yourself? Where have you been taking, what have you been building when it comes to your spiritual life? And so it's good to re-examine this for the next 5 months. But here on Friday, just kind of pauses. So just kind of pause and sit with it for a little bit, maybe reflect on it. And then as Saturn starts to gain his momentum next week, it's about continuing to restructure whatever it is you've been building in your life for the past year, basically, or past 7 or 8 months, and where you can really establish a greater sense of what you might call spirituality, or connection to the divine process, or a connection to God. Now, Saturn is going to be squaring up to Venus at the same time, so you guys could be also having this test to your communications this later part of the week. Now, the communications and the everyday stuff, especially in your immediate environment, and even your mental energies of writing and stuff, can be very enjoyable. So it makes it an excellent time, no matter what, with Venus here, to enjoy communicating, writing, sharing, learning, perhaps teaching, whatever it might be. But Saturn's saying just kind of hold off, just be patient, right? Same sort of energy as before, slow and steady, and that kind of stuff, and have a healthy dose of limitation and extra attention to the mind and communication. Now, along with that, because of the configuration on Friday, Venus will be opposing up to Jupiter in that T-square. So an opposition from Venus is you guys might be feeling like there might be this rift or this gap between you and then your enjoyments of life, your simple pleasures, or maybe even relationships. Okay, maybe even the routine and your friends. So it's good to balance this area out as well, seeing where you can bring balance to those areas. And here, where you can take the practical stuff, the communication, the everyday things, the left side of the brain, and merge it with these right side of the brain possibilities, which are expanding for you. In other words, taking the practical into the possible and seeing the possibilities and applying them practically. Okay, that's a good way of balancing it, but it's usually quite good to have an opposition from Venus. You just want to make sure that you're staying nice and balanced with the whole thing, specifically with the communication or the optimism about the future or the possibilities, the routine, and maybe even the group stuff. Now, over the weekend, the sun does trine up to Mars, so there is that good assertiveness to connect to, again, your roots. All right, so good positive energy there, maybe even good positive energy for you to cultivate that spiritual time out or that rest, which can be a source of energy for you. And also over the weekend, Venus sextiles up to Pluto, so perhaps an opening about this, mental communicative learning stuff to maybe shift things into a new direction, seeing how you can enjoy things in a new direction, involving, communication and learning and stuff. So an excellent weekend for all of that through that steady approach, of course, with Saturn. But this has been a Pluto in your first house. So it's more of this opportunity to change, to shift, to pivot into a new direction so that you're constantly transforming into these new areas of life that you feel like are important to you, that you want to continue to cultivate. All right, Sagittarius, so have a great week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next week.